What's up, everyone? Welcome to another Sales Hacker webinar. As many of you know, my name is Scott Barker. I'm lucky enough to run partnerships and revenue at Sales Hacker, and I'll be moderating this discussion today. So thank you, as always, for spending the next roughly an hour with us today. I know we're all busy. I know we all have a million things to do, but sharpening the axe is sometimes the smartest way to spend your time. So thanks for hanging out with us. And this is going to be a good one. I'm excited. This is something that personally I'm very passionate about, that I've seen a lot of success with, both individually and at the organizations I've been a part of. And what we're talking about is video, okay, specifically in the sales and marketing realm. And we're going to talk about why some videos win and others fail, and talk through lessons from, and every time I look at this number, I'm making sure I'm saying it right, 20 million one-to-one videos. Is that right? Is it 20 million?
That's accurate. Correct.
That's the one. Okay. That's a lot of videos. So there's got to be many, many lessons in there. So before we dive into it, and I've got an awesome guest I want to introduce, but really quickly, just some housekeeping items. So if you've ever been on a Sales Hacker webinar, you know that these are for the community. So today we've got a really meaty deck for you that has a lot of content that we're going to be going through. But of course, you know, we want to solve the problems and issues that you're having today with video. So please do jump on the chat feature that's just below there. Introduce yourself, name, company, and if you have any relevant questions, please do ask them. I'll try to get to as many as possible, and we can steal all of Steve's knowledge on this topic while we have him for the next hour. And then number two is these are always recorded. So without fail, I'll get 10 emails after this being like, hey, send me the recording, send me the recording, send me the recording. Do not worry. We will send this out within 24 hours. It takes us a little bit of time just to render it and get it all good to go, but you will get it in your inbox. Don't worry. But now that we have that out of the way, I get to introduce my guest. I am joined by Steve Pancinelli. Pancinelli, am I pronouncing it right? I probably should have asked you that before. Yeah? Okay, perfect. Steve Pancinelli, good friend of mine. I've been able to hang out with him a few times at conferences, and a little bit of background. So Steve is the CMO at BombBomb. And before becoming CMO, Steve was a customer and advocate of personal video for its benefits that it had in sales teams. So you were actually a sales manager, VP of events, and national speaker for Realtor.com, and used video just extremely extensively, which is really cool to see you make that jump. But it's funny. It's kind of how I've made most of my career jumps as well, is I get obsessed with Sales Hacker and how much it was helping me in my career. And that's why I joined. And
that's
then,
it.
Yeah.
That was it.
That was it. Right. And it was like, wow, this is so cool. And then got involved in the community, and that was it. And similar with this acquisition, I've always just loved sales technology. So the acquisition of Outreach, it's a good way to pick your next gig because you're already so passionate about it. Right. Which is pretty cool. And I've seen Steve speak as well. So you're an amazing speaker, and you deliver presentations to thousands and thousands of people. I know you're a passionate storyteller by nature, and the most self-proclaimed extroverted introvert that you'll ever meet, which I love because I think I share some of those same qualities. Either most people would be like, yeah, right, you're an extrovert, but I wouldn't categorize myself as such. And you reside in Downingtown with your wife, your twin boys, and your daughter, which is awesome. So family man, speaker, video aficionado, we've got the right man. I'm excited to have you on this webinar with me today.
I'm excited to be on here, Scott.
All right. Well, we've got now 55 minutes. Let's dive into it. We did a lot of prep for this one, and we got a lot to cover. So let's dive right into it.
Yeah, and I think thanks for the intro there, Scott. You know, one of the things that you mentioned in the introduction there is I don't just work for BombBomb, which of course is a video communication, video email company. I was a customer. I was a sales manager. I was looking for solutions to the problems that I had of my inbound leads coming in and not being able to convert those leads, trying to get more replies and responses. And in 2011, I found BombBomb and I signed up, paid customer in 2011. And I saw a massive difference, and also not before I made a massive amount of mistakes in the way that I was communicating through video. I thought you do the same things on video as you do in emails, you might do on the phone. And what I realized over the next couple of years, and I was selling a product that ranged anywhere from 25,000 to 40,000 ARR. So that's the realm that we were dealing with that. And I made so many mistakes over the next couple of years trying to use video, but was still successful. And so I have that experience, and then marrying that together with joining BombBomb in 2015, and we have over 20 million one-to-one sends out of our account. We have a lot more email sends overall, but those are mass emails. These are specifically videos sent to one person for the sole purpose of enhancing communication or moving a deal along. And so getting that experience with my own personal experience, we're going to wrap all that up, and I'm going to show you what to do and what not to do, because you need help. You need help if you're going to use video. It's a different strategy. It's a different approach. And so we kind of took, Scott, we kind of took the angle here when we were creating this class of, let's kind of make this not the basics here, not why you should be using, video in your business. And that's why we came up with this question. Like, if you ask yourself, why didn't she or he play my video? Why didn't they play my video? Then this class is for you, because that means that you're already doing video to some capacity. Now, will we rewind a little bit? We're going to spend 5 minutes in the beginning just going over why, but the rest of it is really going to be tactical, how to organize the text of your email, thumbnails, how long the video should be, and everything else. And so, yeah, this is such an important question. And if you are asking yourself this question, it's actually the wrong question to ask. And we'll go over what the right question to ask is as it relates to video as we go through the presentation. So you're on this webinar, you realize video has potential, and this is where people get hung up. And this is actually, it's funny, Scott, I met the outreach team at Sales 3.0 in the fall last year. And you know how when you're at a sales conference and your tables are next to one another, you spend 3 days with the team and you chat. It was like day 2 or day 3, and the outreach guys that came to that conference, they leaned over and they're like, Steve, I'm going to be honest. We've used video. We have a video product. We actually got this video product for free from this company, and it didn't work. We tried it, and everybody just stopped using it. And I asked the team, I said, imagine if you were in the 40s or the 50s, and someone came in and handed 10 telephones to your sales team, and they never did telemarketing. They never picked up the phone for the purpose of sales. How effective would your team be? And they were like, I see what you're saying. You need training. You need education. It's a different process. Just like we have 3-day seminars on outbound and seminars on inbound and seminars on email and seminars on how to properly use the phone for the purpose of sales and telemarketing, you need training and education on video. And so agenda here, really quick on why video in the beginning, just 5 to 6 minutes. Then we're going to hit the anatomy of a video email, and really the anatomy of any video, and not just for email, but for the purpose of even social videos. If you want to put out a one-to-one social video through LinkedIn or through Facebook Messenger, et cetera, a lot of the practices will be the same. And so we'll go through the frameworks, the best practices, and then also free books. We'll show you how you can get some free books, because my buddy Ethan and I, we wrote the first and only book on how to use video to accelerate the sales process and improve customer experience, released around the same time as your book there by Wiley, same publisher and everything. And so,
Steve, I think mine must have got lost in the mail somewhere. Still, it's showing up any day, right?
Yeah, I got a notification. Yeah, there was a holdup, but it's coming.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and so you might be asking
really good things about the book, by the way. Really, really good things.
Oh, thanks, Scott. And you might ask yourself, why in the world would you write a book about video? That seems like a dumb idea. Why wouldn't you do a video about video? And the answer to that is the video is a great companion, or the book is a great companion for you to turn to the page. And we're going to go through some of the frameworks today where you can easily reference a framework, look at it, and execute. And the book is only half the story. The other half of the story is when you buy the book, you get a companion website which has all of the videos and all of the training. And so it's the best of both worlds. You have your digital training and your book training. And so we'll show you how you can get some free books here at the end too. So let's first start off with the problems that video can solve for you. And so there's a digital barrier that we're just used to, that we almost succumb to being part of every single day, which leads to a lack of trust. Someone decided 25 years ago that we're going to relegate our most important business communication to the medium that is devoid of personality and devoid of the messenger, which that's why you don't get replies. That's why you don't get responses. That's why there's a lack of attention, because as people are trying to filter through marketing emails versus personal emails, there's a lack of attention that you're getting overall, which is causing a slower pipeline and stalled communications. And so people buy from people. Attention is the currency of sales. So the more attention that you can get, the better off you are. Video can help you solve that problem if you have a strategy in place, because at the end of the day, your visibility beats your ability. You could have a product that's not quite as good or a product that's better. It still comes down to your visibility. If people do not know you exist, if you can't get face-to-face, and a simple question is, if you were in front of more people more often, would you do more business? And if the answer to that is yes, which I believe, then you know that your visibility beats your ability, because in order for your ability to shine, visibility has to precede it. And what's interesting about this concept here too is, as a sales manager is hiring a sales rep, or if you're a sales rep and you're watching this webinar here today, that sales manager through the hiring process is evaluating that sales rep on all of these skills and interpersonal skills that they then are unleashing to the rest of the world when they decide to hire that person. And now they're unleashing them and relegating them to sitting behind a desk and behind a computer, and where most of their communication is digital, and all those interpersonal skills and everything that they use to evaluate that person on is being negated. Mm-hmm. And so we want to get your salespeople more visible. We want to get you in front and let them use their best asset, which is themselves.
Yeah, I love that. That's one of my favorite quotes that I say all the time when I'm talking about or encouraging people to get more involved in social, more involved in video, is very similar to that. And it's visibility creates opportunity. Because if you have the same skill set as someone else, but if person A is visible and showcasing those skill sets to a larger audience set, then person A is going to come up on top almost 100% of the time.
That is correct. And there's a reason why that happens too. I'm not going to dive into this right now. Check out chapter 3 in the book, where we go over how important it is for the emotional side of your brain to be engaged. And if you don't have that visibility, or someone's only reading the text on the screen, then the wrong side of their brain, their system 2 is engaged rather than their system 1, and they're thinking analytically, and you want them thinking emotionally. And we dive deep into that topic in chapter 3, because emotions and information are what create memories. Emotion plus information creates memories. And if you want to be memorable, you need to tie in that emotion. And all of these communication methods that people can see on the screen right now, your register, pitch, prosody, timbre, pace, volume, all of those things go into creating memories for the recipient of your videos or of your marketing communication. So to round out this why section, I told you the why would be quick, so I want to get right into the specifics here. We're not talking about marketing through video. We're talking about relationships through video. One-to-one videos for the purpose of establishing a bond, building rapport, nurturing that relationship. Anytime where there's emotion involved, a one-to-one video sent to a person to communicate more effectively is what we're talking about, because there's a shiny authenticity inversion, and the shinier that something is, the less authentic it feels. So a raw and imperfect video, something from the heart, and you're going to see that in the examples today, something from the heart is going to be more effective than a polished video with a digital SLR camera and a green screen in the background. You walking down the street, which you will see, videos done on mobile devices, is going to be more endearing to the person on the other end, and we'll get into the exacts and the whys around that in a few moments. But I know some of the people watching the webinar here today, they're still a little bit nervous, about using video and getting in front of the camera. They might feel like they need a script, which scripts are absolutely horrible. I never recommend using a script for any of these types of videos. Now, a video on the homepage of your website, yes, script it out. It needs to be perfect. These videos, the second you use a script and you read a script, your authenticity gets removed out of that video. And I'm going to teach you something better to do instead with a simple piece of paper and bullet points in a couple of slides coming up. But there's a power in vulnerability. The vulnerability that you feel on video, the worthiness and the courage that it takes to do video is what ultimately leads to that connection. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that purpose and meaning and that connection with the recipient. And the only way that you're going to generate that connection is by letting go of perfection, by being okay with your mistakes, by being okay with an or ah or thinking for a moment in your video. It's only going to make it better, because that means you're representing and you're presenting your true authentic self. And only through authenticity will you make that connection with your recipient. So that's the why. You can build deeper relationships faster. You can get more exposure. You can get visibility. And that's why simple videos win. So let's talk about the strategies now. We can systematize the predictable and humanize the exceptional. So when do you use video? Well, we mentioned this a bit, when trust or rapport needs to be built, but anytime there's emotion involved. If you are reaching out because someone's upset about something, it's a perfect opportunity for video. A great question to ask yourself, should I be sending a video rather than typed out text, is, would I be able to convey this message better if I were in person? If I had a teleporter, would I choose to teleport there and give them that message? Or is it easier just to type it out? And so creating, oh, go ahead, Scott, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say that it's interesting when you're saying this, because it was very meta what I was thinking. As we were preparing for this webinar, we had a pre-webinar call, of course, and both yourself and I are lead fairly busy lives, lots going on, but we needed to connect and make sure everything was okay. And I thought it was amazing that you sent me a video kind of quickly running through this, and how much faster I was able to be like, okay, awesome, we've checked this, we've done this, versus, and I could only imagine how many emails back and forth that would have taken, or Google Docs, or different things. Just a massive time saver, for sure.
Which that's great, because perfect timing, and we didn't talk about timing it that way, but the last time to use video is when you have complex information. And right. Still, you can ask yourself that question, could I explain this better if I was face-to-face? Do I need to show them something? And we're going to go through the detail of showing those videos. But let's work on the anatomy of a good video email first. And this is a topic that I don't think I've ever seen anybody talk about right here, because they say, oh, send a video and put this in your video, and it's all about the video. Well, it's not just all about the video. It's about what surrounds that video and how you're driving that video play. And so if we take a look at this email, and I put some Latin in here so people wouldn't be fixated on the actual words in the email, but there's 5 main elements here. And if you're checking email or you're going somewhere else, come back. You need to look at the screen at this part of the webinar here. And everyone knows the importance of a subject line. You've probably been to a ton of classes telling you about great subject line tips and techniques and everything else. I'm not gonna go into that. But you do need to have a great subject line, because if they don't open it, they're never gonna see the video anyway.
Quick question, Steve. Yeah. Do you put video in the subject line?
Yeah, we've run plenty of studies on that, and every time that we did it, video always increased open rates compared to the baseline. So It's not massively significant, and I forget the latest one off the top of my head. But yes, it still increases the open rate. Personalization and everything else can also help. There's so many unique ways to connect with people, and I think it really drives from what you're conveying in your message, you know, what to add in the subject line. If you just put video in the subject line and nothing else that has an emotional context, it's probably not going to do as well for you.
Right.
Text above the video. Why do you need text above the video? If you are using a service like BombBomb, if you're using another service out there, and there's, of course, other services out there, or you are recording video, uploading it to YouTube, and then taking that YouTube video and doing a screen cap and pasting it on, you know, multiple ways to get video in your emails there. The last method being the hardest, of course. But you don't want to add the video on the top before there's any text. Why don't you want to do that? Because depending, again, on what system you're using or if you're manually pasting, it takes the alt text of whatever that graphic is and puts it in the preview pane of someone's email inbox. And you do not want that to happen most of the time. Now, ours converts to click to play. So if you do something like that, it'll say video, click to play. Not the end of the world, but can you get better? Yeah, you can get better. So you want to have a bit of text above because that's what will appear in the preview pane. Then you have your video. We're going to dive deep 25 minutes into this topic, the video, the play, and the pitch. So we'll come back to that section there. But here's what most people miss, especially if they're using it like a freemium system out there, or they tried video before with no coaching or training, is the text below the video. Why is this so important? Well, one, the text is there to drive the video play, which is, well, and that might not be obvious. When I first started using video, I didn't tell people to play the video. I didn't use a curiosity gap to tell them what they're going to learn in the video. I just assumed that they were going to play the video because I had a video there, and that's not the correct assumption. And so we've seen, and some of the things I like to do, I'll put three items, 3 bullet points in the text below, and I'll say, 1, here's a great way to get more email opens. 1, A. 2, B. 3, watch the video above for the C tip. And so you just drive that video play by leaving something out and using the curiosity gap, because people need completion. That's why you see all the great titles of blog posts out there that are like 7 things that you need to do, or the 6th one is the best. That's why that stuff works. People need completion. But the main reason that you're going to put text below the video is this. You see what my screen just did right there, Scott? Mm-hmm. If you do not have text below the video of your email, in most systems, including Gmail, which we know so many people use, it will truncate your email. And that video will be a ... Now they need to click the ... just to see that a video is there. So if there's no text below and you end your email with that video, it's going to get lumped together with the signature line of your email, which Gmail truncates that right on out, and you do not want that to happen. By adding the text, you bring that back, and it looks something like that, just by adding that text below. So it's an extremely important element if you're going to be sending video communication via email.
That's super interesting. I never actually knew that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm glad. Well, I'm glad. We learned one thing, Scott. You got one thing so far today.
I love it.
Maybe we can get to 2. So let's switch gears. Now, that's the anatomy. I don't, and I'm not going to lie, I don't always put text above. I don't. So a lot of times I'll just put the video above and I'll put a little bit of text below. Even if it's just like, hey, thanks, or something like that, that'll not let that video get truncated in a Gmail inbox. And I don't always put text above, but if you want a perfect video email framework, that's what you're going to work off of. Now let's work on getting played. And I know that's a old 90s rap term that would have a negative connotation associated with it. You got played, but in this sense, like, that's what we want. We want our videos to get played. So we started with this question, Scott, because you asked, why didn't she play my video? And we said there's a better question to ask, and this is it. Why should she play my video? Because when you ask yourself this question before it's sent, it gives the question a future orientation, and most importantly, it demands a focus on customer value. And it allows you, or it forces you, and inspires greater customer empathy at the same time. Because you need to provide a reason. Just because a video is in your email, video is not the novelty anymore. You are the differentiator. Video is not the differentiator. You are. We need to get you in front of more people. You need to provide a reason for people to click that video and to play that video. It's extremely important. And when you think about that ahead of time, before the video is sent, why would she play my video? What value am I providing? And we'll go into some of those frameworks.
And Steve, quickly, if you don't mind.
Visibility beats ability. Oh.
Yeah, just really quickly.
Internet connection is unstable. I hope I'm still here at least.
I can hear you.
Like you're frozen. Joanne, I don't know if you could still hear me. I know Joanne is on the line here as well. Oh, you're back. Okay.
I'm back? Okay.
Yeah, you're back too. Okay, great.
It was all good. I was actually just going to quickly go to the community because we got a great question here. And let's do it. So we have Sarah's got a question. Sarah, thank you so much for the question. And it is kind of putting me on the spot a little bit. It's my sales manager is dead set against the video. How can I change his mind?
Well, one, you can, I don't know.
Well, share this webinar maybe.
That's a great idea, Scott. You can watch the webinar video, but it all comes down to results. You know, if you can get a test run of a product and convince your sales manager to let you use it and the other people on your team not to use it and send out the same messages, but with video using some of these techniques, that would be a great strategy. There are a lot of, if you do some research online, 5 years ago, there wasn't a lot of data around it. If you go to the BombBomb website, we do have more and more data on the efficacy of video and replies and responses and everything else that it will help you do. And so it really comes down to the team. I would ask my sales manager, hey, if we were in front of more people, if more people could see us and hear us, do you think we would do more business? And the answer is yes. And video is the only way to get you there unless you're there in person. So yeah, great question.
Totally. And my 2 cents on that one, because I actually went through a similar challenge almost, I guess, three and a half years ago now, rolling out video to our entire organization. And what I started was just a simple A/B test on my own time. I would create videos literally at home on my laptop and then do it a very archaic way, but then would upload those and get them sent out via email. And it was simple because the results spoke for themselves. So I think, taking the initiative and putting the work on yourself, maybe outside of business hours, if they are that dead set against it. And it'll pay absolute dividends anyway. So that extra time will be worth it.
Yeah. And I think, and like shameless plug at the end here, you'll be able to do a discovery call and we'll show you how you can get some books and maybe you send a book to your sales manager and you get them going. But we'll help. I mean, we run pilots at BombBomb too, depending on the size of the company and what your goals are, which you can find out through the discovery calls where we set up the pilots in a control group. And when we run these pilots, it is very, very clear because we do response tracking and we know how many videos actually led to a response. And we give you clear-cut data that video is crushing it for you and your team is going to win. So that's another way to do it.
That's awesome. Great question, Sarah.
Yeah, let's talk. Yeah, thank you. Let's talk about the new subject line. The new subject line of an email is your video thumbnail. Video thumbnails are important on YouTube. They're important on social media. They're just as important in your emails. Scott, which 1 or 2 or 3 thumbnails here stands out to you?
I like them all. Anyone that has a ridiculously big smile, I'm probably going to click. Or this group one. The top left is exciting. It's like, what's going on? Why is there so many people? And then everyone who has a huge smile, I'd probably click on. And then maybe the guy actually in the bottom left who looks really sad, and I want to know why.
So I'm going to get into some of these right now. We're going to talk about the thumbnail, why the thumbnail is important. But you're right, smiling is such a part of human nature. The smile lines on your eyes are one of your best sales assets because you look at Wendy Chung over here on the right-hand side bottom row. That is a smile. That makes you feel good. You're smiling just looking at it, and that's the type of connection that we want, right? So I'm going to give you 5 strategies here for creating compelling thumbnails that get people to play your video. The first one is, you probably have heard or seen this one before if you've been in the video game. Not telling you anything new with this one, but maybe a slight twist. It's name plus. People will put like "Hi Tom" or "Hi Scott" or "Hi James" on a whiteboard and hold it up for the thumbnail. And that works well, but if you do name plus emotion, like we were talking about before, like yikes, you can see right down here, Manish, yikes. There's a little bit of emotion in there. It's like, oh my God, yikes, yikes what? You want to make sure you're explaining what the yikes is in the video. Don't fake people out. You don't want to do that either. But fun fact for you. And I did 2 variations here because depending on what video platform you might be using, a lot of them just do the standard thumbnail. I did have to put the BombBomb versions in here. We do the animated previews, which that's the way it appears in the body of the email. So motion and animation, you could do a lot more with that, but I did want to represent both styles. So name plus emotion, that one's basic. Now we'll get into more detail. Now, if you're doing an account-based strategy where you have, like your tier 1s where they get all personal touches and tier 2s get a combination of personal and automation and tier 3s get automation, these are your opportunities to do those personal touches. You're already looking up content on LinkedIn, etc. Put that into a video. Put the emotional content into video rather than into the text. This is a great example. This is Omar sending an email to Omri, and he found out on LinkedIn that he liked coffees from around the world, and that's the company logo. The company logo is on the coffee mug. There's the coffee cup. There was the response, and that's a quick connection because he took the time. People want to know that you took the time to research them, you did your due diligence. And so you want to make it quick and genuine at the same time as well. The LinkedIn strategy, create your video. You see Shane down there on the bottom. He's in the little circle, but the recipient is Sam McIntyre from Tall Popular, New Zealand. They're actually a client of ours. And he sent the video out on the LinkedIn page for Sam, who he was actually emailing at the time. This is actually a real estate example. I had to put it in here because it was so creative. This is a thumbnail of someone's home, someone's house. Jimmy Burgess went to the Google Maps, the Google aerial view, or Google Earth, sorry, and zoomed in on the person's property. This actually was an animated preview, but again, I wanted to show both examples. And it was zooming into the person's home. If you get an email and they're zooming into your home, are you going to click play on that video, Scott? Yeah.
Yeah. Either that or call the FBI, one of the two. I don't know what's going on there.
Exactly. So you could use this if you want to zoom into a company building or something like that, or just something to gather and gain that attention. Now, of course, you just don't want to do something for the sake of doing it. It has to tie in somehow into your messaging and your video. But this is a great way to get that attention that you need. So LinkedIn, website. I've also seen alternate opportunities, not only showing the customer's website that you're emailing, but showing their competitor's website. You got to be careful with that one, but I've seen that work really well, where you go in and you're emailing a particular company and you show their competitor's website as the starting page. That one gets the play also. I've had this happen to me multiple times. This is a great one. I don't know if you noticed, Scott, but the first person on the top of the book there, if I can get it right, is Daniel Pink. So pretty awesome author, right? Written a bunch of best-selling books. Ethan and I don't know Daniel Pink. How did we get Daniel Pink to write a recommendation for our book? That's the thumbnail that Ethan sent. Detail about the recipient. Those are quotes from his books that he used on the whiteboard to get the attention of that person. And you don't have to have someone that wrote a book. You can use PDFs, guides, white papers, webinars. I had someone reach out to me and was like, you said, and I forget what it was, but you said this on a webinar. And I opened and I engaged with that email and that video because it was so personalized. They provided so much detail that it made me want to click and play. And then it gives your salesperson, again, that opportunity to build that connection. And then finally, interests here too. A general interest. It could be a sports team or an activity or a car. You can get that attention by creating that interest right off the bat. and then you can quickly segue into your message. Like, hey, Scott, I was doing my due diligence, researching the person before I sent them a cold email, and I noticed that you absolutely love, racing cars or your Porsche or what. I didn't even know that was a thing. I started researching Porsches after that. It seems really, really cool. But back to the point, the reason why I was sending you a video, like you can get in and out of it really quick. And just as a human, just show interest in something that they're doing. And that helps you get that video play right out of the gate. And they're going to listen to your message just by connecting with them and talking about them quickly. So that's strategy number 2. I'm going to go quickly through these other ones to make sure we actually get to the videos and the 4 times to use it. But emotion. This is a great one, right? So here's Rebecca. She just sent me this one yesterday. I clicked play on that video really fast because I wanted some good news. She's clapping. She seems excited. But to your point, Scott, this one got me too. So this was sent to me about 6 months ago. And that's Kyle. And Kyle, by mistake, put my personal cell phone number on a mass email that went out to about 5,000 people.
Oh, Kyle.
So I was getting these phone calls, and they were like, yeah, I have questions about BombBomb. And I'm like, I can get you in touch. Like, I just had no idea what was going on. And then I open up my email, and there's Kyle. Oh, my God, I made the biggest mistake. Obviously, I clicked play on that video. So because it's human, emotion works. Emotion will get you that attention and that exposure. So 2 more quick ones here. So we have unexpected. I don't know if you could see that one, but that's a high quality pop-up in the back there in the animated preview with 2 people coming in, which we'll talk about teams in a moment. This was a mass email that went out to a bunch of people, but it had such an interesting thumbnail. Again, a more human. When you think about your thumbnails, think about doing something more human in your thumbnail. It doesn't have to be you sitting at your desk alone. And then this one from Outreach. So Wim Hof, right? He spoke at Unleash.
Yeah.
Great presentation. Everyone that came to Unleash listened to Wim Hof. This was our follow-up video email. It was a mass email to the people that we met, and a mass email got a 56% play rate on a mass email, which is killer because they used the lessons from Unleash, of course, and that Wim Hof was explaining, and it was unexpected. 2 guys in the snow. The 5th way here to get more attention and exposure and to get someone to play your video because they need to play it for you to convey your message is the team dynamic. Reciprocity. The more people you can bring in, wow, that person spent some time gathering the team around, gathering the marketing team, gathering the sales team. You'll find that those videos will get played just like this one right here, juggling in the background, woohoo. This is what we use when someone buys a product and it gets played because it's a celebration. The one element or fabric that holds everything together for those 5 strategies to get your video played is your surroundings. And so if I am at my desk, which I like to do videos elsewhere, even before someone plays my video, they get to learn a little bit more about me, right? They know I like photography. They might like photography. There's a connection that can be made without them even playing the video. Explore, be kind, be brave. It's something that I believe in. I got it on my wall here. Other people might believe in the same thing. I have my kids and a nice little pencil drawing of my kids here on the side. And they could be family people. You never know how you're going to connect with someone. And so if you're going to set up a video space, don't make it seem clinical and cold. You want warmth. Warmth is your most valuable asset because warmth conveys trust, and trust beats competency. Just like visibility beats ability, people need to trust you first before they care about your competency, because competency, if they don't trust you, can be used not to their advantage. Trust needs to precede competency. They need to trust that you're going to use your competency to their advantage. And all of these things that tell a story help you connect with the recipient. So I know that was a lot of information in that segment, but if you're looking for an easy way to remember it, is your email tuned for attention? And tuned being team, unexpected, name plus, that would be the name plus, emotion, or detail. Those are the 5 ways. Are you telling a story with the thumbnail? Now let's switch to, how are we doing on time? Oh, we're doing okay on time. We have about another 10, 12 minutes for content because I got a couple videos to show. And okay, great.
Yep.
So animated preview, we talked about that. Smile, you actually mentioned that in the beginning and how powerful that is. So I'm going to skip this one too so we can get to some of the videos. But this is a powerful tip here for everyone listening to the webinar. In your videos, we want to practice brevity, which is the next one. But numbers will actually help us do that. And just like a blog post or an article, I start a lot of my videos like this. Hey, Scott, 3 quick things I want to cover, or 3 quick things I want to cover here in this video. Number 1, blah, 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 blah. Number 2, and I like to make sure that number 1 is really fast because it gives a sense of progress and time. People want to know the commitment that they're putting into your video. It's one reason why BombBomb does put the time down below. We noticed the animated preview and the time below led to a 49% increase in play rate on the video because people want to know what they're getting into. Animated preview generates attention. So numbers helps with that too, especially if you're like quick with the first one. And then be brief. You don't want to oversaturate the video with details. The details go in the text. The emotion goes in the video. Don't talk about, oh, thank you for confirming our appointment next week at 3 p.m. in the afternoon on the 24th. Do not put that stuff in the video. That stuff is your system 2. That's the analytical side. It's easier referenced in the actual email itself. Leave it out of the video. Anything that involves emotion, you add into the video. They go hand in hand. You don't want to duplicate. Every video you send someone teaches them on whether or not they should open your next email and play your next video. And if you go over the same content in your text as you do in the video and you offer no differentiation or value, then you're actually teaching them not to play your videos again in the future.
Interesting point.
So Scott, this might seem like this takes a lot of work. My answer to that is yes. Relationships take work. You can't automate your relationships with your family and your friends. You definitely want to automate some of it. And like we talked about in the beginning, you want to systematize the predictable and humanize the exceptional. And so we want to blend the automation. We want to blend that personalization together. So let's get to the final topic here where we'll actually see some videos and the 4 opportunities. And sometimes when people watch my presentations, they'll say, Steve, you don't share very many videos and you're teaching video. Why is that? And it's because the video, again, isn't the differentiator. It's your messaging. Your messaging needs to be on point for the medium that you're using. Just because you're using video and because you're watching someone else's video doesn't mean that you have the formula, the structure, the strategy to be successful. I'd rather give you the formula and you follow the formula and you create your own authentic videos, not try to mirror or mimic the things that you're going to see. Now, that being said, I'm going to share some videos here and we're going to go over two ways here, really. We're going to look at frameworks and we're going to look at videos connecting emotionally. And we'll start off with the inbound and outbound framework for video. So people will say, well, if I can't use a script, how am I going to remember what to say? Here's what you're going to do. If you can't remember what to say in your videos, which remember these are short and these are simple, on a piece of paper, you jot down your 3, your 4, your 5 bullet points, whatever that may be. And in the beginning of your video, I'm going to say, hey, Scott, I'm going to cover 3 things for you in this video, and I'm going to put the paper down. So hopefully you guys are watching, not checking email, and you saw what I just did there. The beginning of your video, you hold it up, you point to the 3 bullet points, you put it down. That gives you permission to look down and access your notes. Because now I'm not looking down and you don't know why I'm looking away creepily, and not looking at you in the eye, because I'm just accessing notes and that's okay to do. This framework, empathy, value, call to action, is a phenomenal framework for communication in general, but it works really, really well in video. You have an inbound lead coming in. We noticed that if you empathize with where that inbound lead might be and you handle almost an objection right off the bat, one that you think that they might have, go right into your value and your CTA, that you can build that relationship and that connection faster. And so I don't know what everybody's selling here on the webinar, but I'll give you an example. If you were selling like an ABM software or something like that, you can empathize. And I know one thing, when we choose software programs for us, we always ask ourselves, are we ready for this yet? Do we have the bandwidth for the team? Can we implement it? That's a main question that everyone has. It's almost universal. And so if I was selling something like an ABM software and I was responding to an inbound lead, maybe it was a top of the funnel lead, they downloaded a guide, I would say, hey, Scott, thank you so much for downloading our guide XYZ. I hope you found some value in it. You know, we found that a lot of people that download our guide, they're wondering if their team is ready for an ABM strategy. You know, we've helped so many people before in the past, and do you know that 36% of the people that we talk to actually are not ready? And so we have a questionnaire that will help you decide if your team is ready to move forward with an ABM strategy in the next steps. All you need to do is CTA. So what I did right there in that quick 30-second video is I provided value. I did not expect them to leap the Grand Canyon and just, hey, are you ready to sign up for a demo, you know, of this software? Are you ready to buy this software? I addressed their concern, and I showed that I have empathy for where they are in the sales process, which is so powerful when done in a video and not on text on the screen. Does that make sense?
I love that example. That's awesome.
And then outbound. Here's another framework that you guys can use. So we have empathy, value, call to action. That could work for inbound and outbound, by the way. But the outbound here, this is a great little framework to use. We talked about the pattern disrupt, and that's how you're going to stand out from the crowd with your thumbnails and everything else. And then your video starts with the problem immediately. Now, if you're doing outbound, the problem in the text could be the external problem that they have. If you are selling, you know, an ad system or something like that, it's, you know, are you wondering if your ads are effective, or, you know, that's the external problem. The problem that you want to talk about in your videos is the internal problem. Again, we're going back to emotions and feelings. So in the video, I want to talk about, yes, there's an external problem of not knowing if their ads are effective, but the internal problem is, oh my God, are we throwing a bunch of money away? And it's a different connection. So you want to think about what the internal and external problem is that your problem or that your product or system solves for your customer, right? And then you address that internal problem in the video, tell them why you have the solution, paint the picture of the fantastic results, and tell them what you want to do. It's a simple 5-step framework that will get you more attention, and you're leading with the problem, because all sales start with a problem. Cold leads. Now let's get to a video. Persistence. You know, we're not just, and I'm going to go fast through this because this doesn't just pertain to video and communication, but you're not selling to a window. You're not just selling to a person, you're selling to a window, and it's all about time and modality. But the more time that they can see you and hear you, the better chance you have of them liking you. I don't think we have time to get into this particular story, but there's an awesome study done at the University of Michigan on the familiarity effect, and how just being exposed to something makes people have positive feelings to it. So the more times that someone sees your face and or hears your voice, it's going to have a positive impact for your ability to connect with that person. And so we always hear, like, how much is too much? How many videos are too many videos? And it simply comes down to this. If it's not personal, if you're not providing value, solving a problem, answering a question, providing relevant information to them at that stage that they're at in the sales process. And if you can't do that, it better darn well be entertaining, which is the hardest one. That's the hardest one to do out of all of them. Maybe now's not the right time to send a video. Shane Ryan, a member of our team, is awesome at this. He will reach out to a cold lead or someone that went cold, and he will do a training video, and he'll do a screen recording. By the way, this is a super pro move for the animated preview. He went from the whiteboard personalized message, switched over to the screen recording, and so, which could be a website or any, and so there's just so much going on that it demands attention. So check out the screen right there. It's a killer pro move. But what he does is he holds that up, he does a screen recording, and he actually provides real value and lessons, and he gives away information, sort of like this webinar here today. But let me think of another way to put it. If you're an SEO consultant, you would start on the person's webpage and actually give them an actionable tip for them to do right now to improve their SEO. If you sell an ad product, you would tell them how to change, something on their ads. Bring up the ad on the screen and show them and say, hey, through 10,000 different studies, or through 10,000 people that have created this ad, we've noticed this. I'm just going to highlight that and let you know you might want to change it. Or downloads or best emails. Take a look at bring up their email on your screen with a screen recording and give them a tip, give them something of value. And that's a great way to re-engage those cold leads using the screen recorder.
Hey, Dominic, Shane here with BombBomb. Thank you so much for your time today.
And I won't play the rest of the video, but he actually, so what Shane did and the value that he gave is he had our team create an HTML template for that person, and they didn't even sign up for the product yet, an HTML template for them to use. And that's what hooked them, right?
That's awesome.
So,
I love it. Shane's a pro.
Yeah, it's a pro move. So you don't always need a framework. It doesn't have to be complex. Sometimes you just need to be you. And here's a perfect example of that. This is April Sunshine, which is the most kick butt name for a sales rep ever, I think. Yeah, April.
Is that April's real name?
Yeah.
No way.
It's awesome. So April Sunshine. Have you heard of StoryBrand, Scott?
I think so, yeah.
So StoryBrand, Donald Miller wrote a book, StoryBrand. He's got an awesome podcast too, which I listen to. They come out with episodes once a week. And this is April from StoryBrand, or customer of ours. And she does such a good job of just connecting with people. And you can feel it in the thumbnail here, but let's watch her video for a moment.
Matt, hey, oh my goodness. I've not heard from you. I have been looking at your name and going, I want to talk to Matt. Matt is super fun. You're like one of the funnest people that I've talked to in a good long while. And so I would love to reconnect with you. I know that you were really wanting to make this a priority in
I want to stop right there because I'm going to explain what she did. So she connected. Oh, go ahead, Scott. Did you have something?
No,
go ahead.
I'm applauding. It was really, really well done. It would be difficult on an emotional level not to reply to a video like that. You'd almost feel like you're letting her down, even if you don't know her.
And that's it. And this is the response that she got. She sent it over to me, and she's like, I got this awesome response and there we go. There's Matt. And so got a great response. And she didn't have a big, difficult framework right there. It was just rekindling that relationship, being who she was. Some people, I played that video before in front of an audience, and some people were like, I didn't like that. That's fine. She's going to attract the people that are like her and repel the people that are not. And she's making that deeper connection right there. Two things that she did. She started off with the personal connection. The next thing she did is she showed that she was really listening. And we didn't play the whole video, but she went through all of the problems and the obstacles that Matt gave her previously and brought those back up. So it showed that she's paying attention and that she's listening to the customer. And when you can recite that back off the top of your head, it is a powerful emotional motivator.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So the last type of video here is confirmation. And confirmation can mean a few different things, actually. The first example that we have here is confirming an appointment. And I'll give you a framework for this one. This one's simple, it's easy, it's fast. Here's what you do. If you want to increase appointments kept, if you have a problem in your business of people canceling appointments or demos that you're scheduling, send a confirmation appointment using this framework. Remax, not Remax agents selling homes, Remax as a franchise for one of our customers, and they're selling franchises, actual Remax. Right. Remax buildings to people, technically not the building, but just the license. But selling franchises, they went from a 58% to a 71% increase to 71% for appointments kept by using a simple strategy for confirmation. And this is it. It's connect. So when they connect, the appointment's booked, they talk to them over the phone, they send a video email out directly after, and they connect. They say something sort of like what April did. Something that person mentioned during the call to show that they were listening. So that's connect right off the bat. Remind for the appointment. Remember, you do not do that in the video. You put the reminder in the text. Don't waste your video time. Attention is a gift. Time is an asset. You want to make the video as brief as possible with the most amount of information. So remind in the text. The only two things you do in the video is connect and reaffirm. And here's the key with the affirmation. So if I was reaching out to you, Scott, I would connect with you somehow, and then I would say something like, great, My team is already hard at work, and we're creating a customized marketing plan, and we began working on it already. So if by any chance you need to schedule or you need to cancel, and it's so people say, I don't want to say that because then they're going to schedule or cancel. Bring it out. They do not do that. Tell them the time and effort that you've already put into working on the meeting, the proposal, the whatever the confirmation's for, and it will reduce the amount of cancellations that you get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Plus,
you don't want to be afraid of that no, right? Because that no, if you say all that and they're like, no, never mind, we're good. That's actually going to save you maybe 2 months of working, and you're going to get that no anyway.
Absolutely. And it comes down to this too. You'll get no less often because it is easy to say no to text on a screen. It's hard to say no to a smiling face. Once they identify who you are as a person, it makes it more difficult to reject you. Mm-hmm. Just like people don't like to be asked to do things in person because you feel that pressure of the person being right in front of you. That's why it's easier to reject things over email. You want them to see you, to hear you. You want them to know who they are rejecting if they need to reschedule.
Yeah, up until then, you could have just been an email signature to them. That's
exactly
all you are, is that text, that name.
Exactly.
Totally.
So this is a fun one. I figured we'd end it with this one here. So this addresses the problem of buyer's remorse. We're kind of nudging someone along. Someone made a verbal commitment. Yeah, we're going to do this. I'll sign the docs. I'll send it over. Blah 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 blah. Here's what you do to make sure that actually happens in a timely manner before the end of your quarter, your month, or what have you. This one's pretty funny. This is Darren Franzen. He works at a company called Curator. Just signed up a contract. This is his confirmation video that he sends.
Terry, what's happening? It's Darren, a little furry over here, and I'm sure you remember my aerodynamics, my follically challenged self over here. Been like that for about 15 years. Hey, thanks for the time this morning. Looking forward to our partnership. We're gonna kill it. A little signed copy of Chris's book going out to you. The old conversion code, some Curator swag coming your way. Just wanted to say thanks. When I get the DocuSign back, we'll get this party started. Hopefully you had an amazing day.
30 seconds of your time.
Love it.
Showing them what she's going to get. Oh no, I better sign this. They're already sending stuff over. It is a great motivator, and to actually see the book and to see the items, it's good stuff.
I love it.
But this is what it boils down to. Your message effectiveness, your video effectiveness comes down to personalization, expression, your emotion, and intention. The intention that you have to connect with that person on the other end. And it's all about connection. And all that is divided by duration. You want to get all three of those elements in the shortest time possible. I love photography. As you could tell, I got all these cameras back here, and I took a photography class with one of the top 10 wedding photographers in the world. I actually drove out, spent 3 days with him, and he's like looking at my photos, and he's like, these are awful. These are horrible. And I was like, oh my God, what's going on? And he's like, you're trying to do too much. You're trying to do you have too many things in your photographs. You have too many things in your picture, in your pictures and your images. And people don't know what the subject is. It needs to be clean. It needs to be condensed. And that's really what this comes down to as well. What can you remove? Removing all the fluff besides the emotion, the intention, and the personalization of your video, and keeping the duration as short as possible will help you build relationships, because that's where business is built. It's built on top of relationships, and help you get that attention. Because ultimately, we all, and as human beings, we all have a desire to be seen, heard, and understood. That's what video allows you to be seen and heard and understood. And if you enjoyed any part of the webinar here today, I do want to just one more time say, we wrote the book on it. It's the only book on using video in the sales process written. And what I went over today is a small fraction of what you're going to get in the book, from the frameworks, the why, because we go over why to use video, when to use video, how to use video, and improving results in video, and then give you an entire companion website with all the videos on the website for you to watch. And so if you're interested If you think you have a great sales team that would benefit from being face-to-face with more people more often, we can actually send you some free books here too. And if you want to schedule a discovery call, this isn't a full-on demo. This is literally a discovery call to see if your team is structured in such a way where video might benefit you. This is not a you're going to hop on this and we're going to come to an agreement. This is simply a discovery call. If you want to do a discovery call, we will send you and several members of your team, whoever you would like, copies of the book just for checking it out and learning a bit more about using video in the sales and CS process. So all you have to do, and I'll pop this in, or maybe if Joanne or Scott, maybe I'll pop this into the chat there for everybody so it's easy. But it's bombbomb.com/sales hacker. And I'll pop this right into the chat.
Boom. Amazing. Well, Steve, thank you so much. I always learn a ton. I think I know video, and then I speak to you, and I realize that I don't know everything about video. I always learn a ton. And I'm excited to actually dive into the book. And I know we got a few questions. Perfect. We got a few questions that we didn't get through, but what we're going to do is either the sales hacker team or the bomb team will actually reach out directly via email, get your questions answered. And Steve, if people want to continue to follow along with you, obviously you're a wealth of knowledge. What's the best way to do so? LinkedIn?
Yeah. So on LinkedIn, Steve Passanelli. And also, bombbomb.com. A lot of my content and webinars and information is on the bombbomb.com/blog website. Of course, if you do a discovery call, we'll send you information, white papers, and downloads there, and the book copy. And so there's a lot of ways to connect on Twitter as well, and Instagram, and all the other great social networks that are out there.
Awesome. And if you ever get a chance to see this guy speak at a conference, I highly recommend it as well. All right. Well, thank you everyone for hanging out with us. Thanks for the great engagement throughout. And Steve, always a pleasure, my man. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Yeah, Scott, thank you so much for having me on. Thanks, everybody.